This is the new BMW 4 Series. The specific car we have here today is the 435. And 4 Series is a new name for BMW. They've taken the 3 Series Coupe and Cabriolet and now called them a 4 Series, kind of in line with what Audi's doing with the A4 and the A5. They've differentiated those cars. So the way it's going to work with BMW, all two-door models or coupe-like cars will have even numbers, and all sedans like the 3 Series, the 5 Series, and the 7 Series will of course be odd numbers. So this is a great looking car, and it is different from the previous model. It's a little bit longer, about an inch longer, wider by 3 inches, but the biggest difference is they dropped the roof down, so it's got a very low silhouette, which makes it look like it means business. I kind of think it looks a little bit more elegant than the previous model. It's got some beautiful lines down the side, looks sleek, maybe a little bit more feminine, the previous 3 Series Coupe. Now the one that we have here isn't quite right. What they've done is they put winter wheels on this car with 18-inch rims instead of the 19-inch wheels that come with the 435. The 428 comes standard with 18-inch wheels. I suspect these are off a 428. Now you might say 2-liter direct injection turbocharged engine. Some other manufacturers from Germany are coming out with 2 liters with much more power. For example, the S3 has 300 horsepower. The CLA 45 AMG has 355 horsepower. But I almost guarantee you, if you talk to the engineers, they'd say, you know what, this is a nice balance of just enough power and good fuel economy. And you know what, it's not a bad performer either. 241 horsepower gets this car to 100 kilometers an hour in just 6 seconds. It's faster with the 8-speed automatic than it is with the manual transmission. The manual is oh so much more fun to use. Then you bring in the 435, the car I have here. Same thing again. It's a carried over power plant. It's the 3-liter inline-6, classic BMW inline-6 with 300 horsepower, 300 foot-pounds of torque. And it could be argued yet again, BMW hasn't really upped the ante. There are others out there with 4-cylinder motors that have more power than this inline-6. But what this car has is fantastic linear torque. And the great thing about the manual transmission is it's oh so smooth to shift. It's a lot of fun. You can heel and toe with it just perfectly. But here's the other thing in city traffic. You can put it in 3rd gear and you can drive as low as 25, 30 kilometers an hour, and it has just enough torque that it'll pull all the way up to 70, even 80 kilometers an hour in just 3rd gear. So you can drive it as a manual, race around as much as you want, or you can just leave it in 3rd gear in the city and drive it almost like an automatic. It's that tractable. What a wonderful engine. It's been one of my all-time favorites for years, ever since the 335 first came out. This engine is gold. It's bankable. It does a fantastic job. Yes, they could tweak it, take it up to 330, 340, which I wouldn't complain, but it's fantastic as it is. The other part of the equation is you can select the different kind of modes you want to drive in. If you want to get the best economy out of this, you can put it in Eco Pro, or you can leave it in normal. I find Sport is the best. It just seems a little boggy if it's not in Sport, just my kind of style. And the other thing is, as we go along through the years, the Germans are getting softer when it comes to their suspension and their feel back to the driver. And the North Americans are getting a little firmer, especially Cadillac. If you go and watch my Cadillac ATS review, the car is really much stiffer, way more feedback to the driver. This car does not have the M Sport package, and I might get it, or you definitely want to try it with it or live without it. But this car is really quite soft and compliant. It handles beautifully, but there's really not a lot of feedback to the driver compared to cars that they used to make, say, 10 years ago. Well, the little treat I want to share with you is the fact that BMW has put a manual transmission in this press car, which I'm thrilled about, because I got to tell you, I drive so many cars, 80 to 100 different cars a year. And it's so nice to get a really good manual transmission. So many car companies are abandoning that, and that's the one thing that really sets BMW apart from much of the competition is manual transmission available in so many of their products, and especially with a 3 Series / 4 Series car. It's classic BMW in here. It's beautifully put together. I gotta tell you, there's so many people that are massive fanboys of Audi interiors and the way that they are designed. Yes, they're a little bit showier than BMW, but this is just nothing but the best stuff. And one way I can always tell the difference between one brand over another is where they put all their soft touch materials. Top of the dash is very common, bottom of the dash not so much, goes all the way down. Even the map holders here are covered in soft touch material that will not scratch and holds up and looks good for years to come. That's a pet peeve of mine, and BMW does it better than most. Now, on the other hand, a lot of people could complain that they don't really progress much, and I'm in that camp as well. It looks so much like BMWs from even 10, 15 years ago. They really haven't moved the needle in terms of the actual design. Could it be called a little bland? Yes. Is it a little bit sort of old-fashioned looking in terms of, overall layout? Yes. But you know what? It works for the most part. I'll even admit I've grudgingly come to appreciate iDrive because they finally refined it to the point where it's pretty good now. The seats are wonderfully supportive, and this car has lots of nice features with the executive package. Back seat is actually functional if you want to put kids back there. It actually is a roomy two-door, four-seat coupe. Very nicely fitted in here. The materials really are first-rate. It just feels so well put together, and you have to hand it to BMW. They do that, as I mentioned, better than most. This 4 Series is not an inexpensive proposition in any way. The 428 rear-wheel drive base model starts at around $45,000. If you want the X-Drive all-wheel drive, which most people in Canada are going to order, you got to go up to $49,000, a $4,000 premium. Now, the 435 that we have here is roughly just under $55,000 if you want the rear-wheel drive. If you want the all-wheel drive, it's only a $700 premium to get the all-wheel drive X-Drive, and that definitely is worth the $700 stretch. Not inexpensive. I would, in my personal situation, stretch to get the inline 6-cylinder, the 435 that we have here. I just think this engine is a masterpiece. It has been for a decade. It just does everything so well. It's so tractable in city traffic. It feels just right. The 4-cylinder can be a little bit buzzy for the people that are used to the inline 6-cylinder. But you know what? If you drop one of these in front of my house, the 4-cylinder turbo or this 435, I'd be very happy. It is a beautiful car.